Paul Simon, today's lyric. Just had a little look at tomorrow's, and well, do you know what? You might well get it straight away, but just looking at the lyrics without knowing the title, I might have struggled. We'll see again on tomorrow at 10 to 11. It's nearly quarter to 12 now, so we're pushing on. And it's that time of the week when we catch up with our gadget man, Matt Porter, from Matt Porter Web Design in Waldringfield, the show's technology expert. And we're taking a bit of a break from just gadgets or apps or things like that, Matt, this week, because you've been looking on the road.
I have. I've been looking at very large gadgets.
Yeah, well, it is a gadget in a certain respect.
That was my excuse, yeah, because it's in electric. It was actually a Renault Zoe, which is a 5-door hatchback electric car.
Fully electric?
Completely electric, yeah. No fossil fuels whatsoever. So the car's basically charged by a industry standard coupler at the front. So you have on the fob of the key, you press like an open button, and it flaps open the flap, and then you can plug it into a wall socket, which is, well, it's not a wall socket, it's a standard electric car wall socket, which is installed as part of the purchase of the car.
And so there are other electric cars out there. We're just looking at one, and you've actually looked at a couple quite recently.
I have. I looked at one last week, which was the Renault Twizy, which is a 2-seater car. This one that I had this week, the Zoe, is a fully fledged family, sort of 5-door hatchback, so much more practical for your day-to-day usage. Just
for people who are starting out and never even got into one, are there any specific changes that you notice straight off as soon as you get in?
The model I had a key fob that you just put in your pocket. You don't have to unlock the car per se. It's aware that you're in the car or near the car and will allow you to get in and out. Like you would on an automatic, really, you depress the brake, and in this car you press the start button on the dashboard, and it makes a sort of whooshing noise, which is more of a sound effect than anything else, and the dashboard lights up and the central console lights up, and you're ready to go. And you have an automatic gear selector where you've got drive, neutral and reverse and parking. You put it into drive, release the handbrake, accelerator, brake pedal are all the same, pull away, and it's absolutely silent.
Really? Completely silent?
Well, actually, it has a button underneath the dash which, up to 17 miles per hour, it makes a noise. The car will make a noise, which is the pedestrian warning sound. Because it's so quiet, they don't actually, people aren't aware you're approaching. You can switch that off.
Yeah.
So when you pull away, it is absolutely silent. It really is. It's quite amazing. We hear the crunching noise of the tyre on the road.
But that's quite something, isn't it? If it is so quiet that you have to almost add a noise.
Yes. I think, for instance, if you were getting up very early in the morning, leaving your house, or coming home very late at night, you're not going to be disturbing anybody driving the car because it's silent. When you get up to speed, there's the electric motor is making a kind of whistling noise, as you would expect. But apart from that, there's no other real sound. It's great.
And what's held electric cars back in its progress, I would say, particularly in rural areas, would be the amount of distance you can travel, and also just the performance against a petrol or diesel. Because
Yes.
if you can't get the performance, then people aren't going to buy it.
Yes, the battery technology, I believe, has come on in leaps and bounds over the last few years, whereas originally we used to have cars with lead-acid batteries in them, such as milk floats with great big heavy batteries.
We're just reminiscing.
You were telling me about your father.
Yeah.
They were very, very heavy, and hence their speed was very, acceleration was slow. Now we have cars with lithium-ion units in them, which are much lighter.
Are they just bigger versions of what you charge your phone up?
Yeah, same sort of technology, really, but a lot bigger. The acceleration on this is quite astounding, actually, because it's direct drive. It's like an automatic, but with zero gear changing. You're literally from being a standstill, from going to, I think, 0 to 60 is something like 13 seconds on it, which is pretty good for a car in that class. Top speed is 84 miles an hour, so you're able to get up to the speed limits fairly easily and have some to spare if you need it on hills and things like that. The range on a full charge is 120 miles, which is, you could be looking at around 120 miles. Charging points are available around the country, and in this car one of the features is it has a sat nav on it with a map that shows you where all the charging points are within your range of battery.
That's quite useful.
There are some supermarkets that actually have them outside, and some don't charge at all.
So for most people, I mean, if you're a company car driver and doing thousands of miles a year, it's probably not going to work for you because you're having to charge it up all the time. But if for door-to-door use, most people will be doing under 120 miles.
Yes, I would expect that's correct. Having spoken to Peter at Bristow's, where I got the car from, he said there is a customer he has that actually does go do a journey where he stops up at Milton Keynes and charges his battery up and then carries on his journey and does the same on the way back. This car will charge its battery to 80% in half an hour, which is amazing, which means you could, as long as you've got it's like a fast charge, if you like. That last 20% takes a bit longer, but you do that overnight at home. So you could go to a shop, go and do your shopping, charge it up while you're there, and come out and have effectively the equivalent of a full tank.
Is that what's going to let this down, though, if we don't have enough charging points?
Yes, possibly, but having looked at that map, there are ample charging points. I think the point is that when you buy this car, you can have the charging point installed for free, which is done on a government plug-in grant, it's called. Or if you don't buy the car, you can still have a point installed at your home for £115, £120 or something like that, and then it's ready for when you might need it. It's future-proofing your house, perhaps adding a little bit of value.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I suppose it might do, yeah. But in terms of whether you're converted or not, I mean, it sounds like you're quite impressed.
I was very impressed. It was a really, really lovely car, designed from the ground up, I believe, to be an electric car. So it wasn't a existing car that had been converted to be electric driven. It was built from the ground up. Beautiful inside. It was the top of the range of the three models. Yeah. They start at $13,995 on the road. The only difference with a normal car, as with the Twizy, is that you don't own the battery, you lease the battery.
Right.
You pay a monthly fee for the battery, so if anything should go wrong, it fails, etc., or it doesn't stop charging, then it will be swapped out with a new one. It also includes breakdown cover, so if you run out of electricity at the side of the road, you will be recovered, which is quite nice if you do. But if you got to that point, it wouldn't happen because apparently lots and lots of warnings are flashing up on the dashboard before that happens.
Know it was on the way.
You would, yeah.
You wouldn't suddenly be stuck on the motorway, presumably.
That's right, yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's a big step for a lot of people to take, but it sounds that you think that more people will start looking at this.
Apparently it's the equivalent of a diesel hatch of the same size, price-wise. Lots of people are interested in this. It's not swamping the market at the moment, but it's certainly worth, I think, going and having a look if people are looking to get an alternative way of getting around, because it is really lovely, quiet, smooth. It's you'd have to pay a significant amount of money to get a petrol or diesel car that was as smooth as the one I drove. So yeah, it was great.
All right, Matt, good to see you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, cheers.
There's Matt Porter, our technology expert on electric cars. Suitably impressed.